feel about that.
You're going to have to be okay with it. So did you tell them to pause the proposal?
Well, I had already given my approval. Now it was for the rest of the family to give their approval.
Your blessing.
Right. My daughter was on, like, Facebook video from Texas.
You left a proposal to be on this show.
That's right. I wanted to get here on time, and so when I left, I heard my father giving the third degree to my future son-in-law.
That's a first for the show, I think. I don't know if we have any big words I know by heart babies out there. Yeah.
Well, it's dedication. I also stayed on set, got home at the last minute for both my daughter's prom and my son's graduation.
Oh, the music stopped quite abruptly there. Welcome to Big Words I Know by Heart, a program of rants, raves, faves, pet peeves, personal vendettas, celebrity interviews, and anything else we can fill the half hour with. My guest today hails from Rochester, New York, I think. He's the father of four, a defense attorney, and has over 60 IMDb credits for directing, acting, cinematography, set direction, and production. And am I in trouble already? Moving on. In 2017, he took home the best short film. Airy, you're shooting some crazy looks over there. Let's get into that first.
I didn't realize he was from Rochester.
Aren't you?
Like, since when? I don't.
Well, I live somewhere out that way. It usually takes me about an hour.
I need to know where you live. I knew your office was in Medina, so for some reason I thought you lived out there.
Well, I did grow up that way.
Okay, I have to finish my intro and then we'll get into it.
Forgive me.
That's okay. Sometimes, okay, you're fine.
I don't need to know anything.
You do. You're the co-host. You're involved.
That doesn't mean
You're
I know
a part
anything.
Of this thing. We're going to learn together. In 2017, he took home the Best Short Film Award at the Buffalo Dreams Film Festival for Will O The Wisp. It is my pleasure to welcome Mick O'Donald to the show.
Thank you for having me. Very nice.
Thank you for being here. Early, too. Returning to the co-host hot seat after a long hiatus is model actress or actress model Airy Nikohl.
Okay, so let's educate people here because that's not correct. I'm an actor. So an actress only plays female characters.
Okay.
An actor plays male characters, female characters, animals, inanimate objects, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I have a degree in theater.
Mm-hmm.
My first role on stage back in 2004 was a male in an all-female cast, being tall for female. So I am not an actress.
Okay.
I'm an actor. And I don't want you to sound stupid on your own show.
Fair
so
enough.
I figured I would educate you as well as everybody else.
Okay.
And since my degree is in theater, actor would be first. That would be my first title.
So
I happen to model.
Airy Nikohl.
But yes, actor
Okay.
would be the correct term there.
Welcome both. I feel like I've been chastened. No?
No.
Well, I mean, you don't want to sound stupid on your own show. Come on. So I just
It
figured I would
happens
make
anyways.
sure
It happens
you had the proper
often.
terminology there, and that everybody has the proper terminology because it is a common misconception. Oh,
You want to
forgive me. Now I
informed.
sound stupid with my alarm going off.
Mick, would you like to launch into our questions?
Yes, I would. But I did want to say, Airy, I'm a big fan of your acting.
Oh my goodness, that means a lot coming from you.
Yes, thank you.
First and foremost, this is a safe space for sharing opinions.
Sounds good.
No?
Should I feel safer now?
Maybe. I don't.
As if I didn't feel safe
there may
before.
be some leftover caution tape from Will O The Wisp that we can use for the set.
Oh, I love that caution tape. I try to use it in most of my artistic endeavors.
We have 3 pages of questions here, so we better get rolling.
Okay.
There is some strong imagery, potent symbolism, and a hypnotic, subliminal quality to the cinematography in Will O The Wisp. Was that intentional, and do you feel that filmmaking is a visual medium first and foremost?
It was intentional. I wouldn't say that visually it's first and foremost. That's pretty much just for me. I think as I get better at the other parts of making a movie, then those other areas might become more prominent. But right now, visual qualities is very important to me.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. The subliminal quality, was that intentional?
Yes, subliminal quality is intentional. Oftentimes when I'm watching a movie, I don't actually see it in their movies until you do further research or study and find out what you're actually watching.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And you shoot most of your scenes in one take and give the actors direction while filming. What's the philosophy or acting school of thought there, and is it spur of the moment?
Well, I'm a big fan of independent film or B films, and I've spent many hours watching those type of films. First started off on Something Weird on Netflix. I'd get them in the mail. And I found a strange and really fulfilling quality to see what I would say inspiring, aspiring actors or directors, writers, and so forth. They're having the time of their life. This is like, I'm making a movie. I'm an actor in a movie. Maybe this is my one shot at doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, they're a background or they got a lead. And I look for those little stars, those little moments when I just get a smile on my face. I'm like, that's the best scene in the movie. And it's somebody just trying their best. And that's what I'm looking for. No matter what level other people think that they're bringing to the film, I get a smile out of seeing someone enjoy that moment.
Mm-hmm. And Airy, you've been on the set recently. What do you have a method that you like to work off of?
I was not on that set, no.
No, but you were on a set for another movie this week.
Yes.
As an actor,
yes.
Do you have a method that you like to employ?
I mean, well, I wasn't really doing much on that set. I followed direction, so what you're told to do. You usually give yourself some sort of motivation to the character. So at my age, I was cast as a high school student, which comes to quite a surprise to me. But anyway, I one point was walking down a hallway with one of the other actors who was cast as a teacher, and her and I decided, even though there's no audio, that we would have a conversation about how I didn't turn in my paper. And that I explained to her that I did turn it in. I must not have put my name on it, so to check her papers for a paper without a name on it, because surely that's my paper. I definitely did turn in that paper.
Is this a reboot of Degrassi High?
I have no clue
be
what the movie is about.
Yeah.
A third reboot, I think.
A third reboot.
No clue.
Reboot, reimagining.
I showed up, I followed direction, I got paid.
Is
no clue what the movie's about. Can't give you any spoilers. Can't give you any information.
No,
I had
nothing
no
yet.
clue what I was doing.
But it pays well.
Paid me pretty well to do almost nothing. Can't complain.
That's good stuff. Mick?
Yes, sir.
Did you black out at a brushwood bonfire and get lost in the woods for research purposes to add to your mystique as a director, or is that where you met an actual Will O The Wisp?
Well, to be honest with you, I have no memory of blacking out.
As most don't.
That checks out with my notes.
But I know that the person that I was camping with did come to my rescue and throw me in a tent and left me to sleep it off.
Okay.
That doesn't sound like a rescue to me. That sounds like an abduction, but call it what you want.
Well, somehow they found this other person out of the hundreds of people that were there and said, hey, you know this guy? He's passed out in a ditch.
That could be a different passion project. Maybe, perhaps.
Perhaps, but I don't want to.
Passion Pit.
Passion pit.
They'll be in Niagara Falls next month.
I don't want to play that role, though, again.
Again?
No.
What is the correct pronunciation of Sam Quintilianaro's last name, and do you consider him a peer, a mentor, visionary, life coach, or all four?
Wow. Sam Qualiana.
Qualiana. I was close.
No, you weren't.
I was really close.
I don't think there's a T in it, though.
That was not close.
Right.
Maybe this T is silent.
It was a combination of Qualiana and Tarantino.
Quintiliano. I got it.
Sam Qualiana. Yeah, I would say all four of the above, and probably some other things that you didn't mention. Mentor, inspiration.
Saw Sam yesterday.
Yeah, Sam's a hard worker. He's making it.
On the set of Degrassi 3000.
You can call it what you want.
Is he mixed up in all this?
He's mixed up in a lot.
Yeah, Sam's a go-to guy around here.
He's the guy.
He is.
Your father, Mick, was an art director for Channel 13 in Rochester. How much did that influence your work, and how did your kids spin off into music?
Yeah, my father influenced my work because they'd take me under his wing back at the earliest memories of my life, put a schmuck on me, and had me stand in this little art studio at our apartment and let me go to town, just splash and paint all over it. And then later on, he'd say, color in between the lines, and sure enough, they used some of those paintings for photographs that they put into the commercials. And that back then, those were days of kind of coming out of the 60s and early 70s, bright colors and bold lines and splashy content.
You brought me some beautiful artwork of yours. I want to show this. And thank you for the gift for this show.
Cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
You're welcome. That's one of my favorite pieces. My father's in there. Another artist is in there, and another man that passed away. I love that piece. And you had asked about my children's music in the Wisp.
It was a neat combination of dark metal and throwback, like old school folk. It was a nice combination.
Yeah, the music by my son, it basically had spans his whole music career. He's 29 now, so some of his earliest stuff, the folky things, that's when he could only play one string on a guitar at a time and come up with some melody and some words. And then eventually the evolution into the heavy metal and the screaming, which I thoroughly enjoy. Mm-hmm. And I like the up-tempo aspects of that. And then my daughter, she played, she also was in the movie, but she sang a song or two in the movie. And again, it's looking at that, the qualities coming from an original perspective, someone that might not know what they're doing and they're trying very hard. And you get some beauty from slightly being off key.
So you enjoy listening to your son scream?
I do, and I kind of, when he was a baby, I used to hold him in my arms and just crank Ozzy Osbourne or Crazy Train, Black Sabbath as loud as I could, and the vibrations from the rather large
Motorhead
speakers.
Any Motorhead?
Until he started screaming.
Yeah, it's not quite the same music, but the music would put him to sleep.
It was soothing to him.
So
that's interesting.
For a long time, I thought the songs were kind of about me, but he keeps telling me that they're not. So.
Now, how did you two get mixed up? When did you two first meet?
Oh, long time ago. I mean, it's really.
Return to Newcomb High?
Yeah.
Right?
2012.
Same as Sam Qualiano.
Right. That's kind of where I got my start. Answered an ad in the paper and showed up and met a bunch of wonderful people.
There was an ad in the paper?
Yeah. I think I was in Maine with Rhonda Parker, and it's like
that's where I met her too.
Never heard of her.
I got to get back from Maine on vacation here. We were vacationing in Maine, and got to go for this audition.
They had auditions?
Well, for the scenes.
I just showed up. I was in college.
You showed up and started
for theater,
acting.
And one of the students I was going to school with, she knew Zach Amico, who was casting, because one of the other students we went to school with was from New York City, where he was from. So she's like, hey, they need people to fill scenes. Just show up. I just showed up.
Your first acting credit?
No.
No?
No. My first acting credit goes back to 2004.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's a long time now.
How old does that make you?
How old do I look?
Young enough young enough to play a high school student.
Young enough to play a high school student yesterday.
I'm still trying to picture Mick as a child doing artwork like a tiny Bob Ross. Did you have a beard back then at like 6
I
or 7?
see it.
Don't you see it?
Actually,
now I do.
Doing happy little trees?
Actually, I couldn't grow a beard until probably the age of 35. I did have a little goatee going. But once the beard came, other than cutting it off for Marshall and for dry bones, I haven't taken the beard off in many years.
You were afraid it wasn't going to grow back, right?
Right.
Same thing happened to me with my first haircut.
And, Mick, you coined the term muddle puddles during Rhonda Parker's upcoming ensemble film Christmas Monstrosity. Please to explain. Muddle puddles.
Muddle puddles. Be honest with you, I'm usually out of my mind when I'm on a movie set, other people's movie sets.
As opposed to regularly where you're not out of your mind?
Well, I mean, for my job, I do have to stay within certain bounds.
There's a semblance of sanity there.
Right, unless the judge lets me keep talking and talking. Then I kind of start getting out. But no, when I'm on Rhonda sets and she lets me kind of get into what I'm getting into, which she doesn't know where it's going, there's a possibility I came up with that. I don't really remember, to tell you the truth.
I like it, Muddle Puddles. Is Uber still a work in progress, and what was your original plan for the series?
Uber is still a work in progress. There's a scene with Bill Brown that has to get finished being edited. So that would make number 4. The original concept is, me driving around as an Uber driver and meeting up with Jason, who's an aspiring actor, John Beebe.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard of Jason Beebe? No? Okay, just checking.
Yeah. And
Wasn't in the script.
Wasn't in the script.
for the Uber, these shorts, I figure making a full length feature is pretty hard, and it took me 4 years to do this Will O The Wisp. It's like if I just set my sights out to do these 5 to 7 minute shorts, an ongoing series, maybe on YouTube, that I could actually accomplish something, and trying to have a guest star each time I thought would also be very important.
Mm-hmm. Is that what's up next for you, Uber?
Not necessarily. Right now I'm kind of trying to lay low as far as making my own projects. I still want to finish an extended cut of The Wisp. I have another 30 minutes that has already been shot, and I could add that to the movie.
What would that look like? Would it be called Will O The Wisp Extreme Ultimate Director's Cut Redux?
I think it might be called Will O The Wisp Will's Nightmare, since most
yours sounds better.
Well, most of these scenes are without dialogue or any coherent dialogue, so it's just really going to be an amalgamation of more of just these hallucinogenic type of scenes.
Mm-hmm. Airy, what was your hot take on Will O The Wisp? Did you see the film?
No, I did not do my homework.
That's okay. You've been busy with gigs. You've had gigs.
I was in school all day yesterday, and I didn't. I have not yet seen it. It's on my watch list, but I don't watch a lot of movies. I'm too busy making them. So
you have 45 jobs and school.
Close.
Okay.
Well, you're forgiven. You're one of the many millions who haven't seen it yet, but someday,
it's on the watch list.
Right.
It was very enjoyable to watch, and I'm going to watch it at least one more time.
Great.
At least.
Thank you for that.
Are you a true believer when it comes to cast iron skillet cooking?
I am. Someone must have told you about that.
Little birdie.
Okay, wow. I'm nervous now.
Don't be. Did you rehearse the choreography for your big scene in Dick Johnson and Tommy Gun, or was it ad-libbed?
I want to say it was probably rehearsed on the spot, but I don't think I would generally do those moves, those dance moves on a regular basis. So it was probably exacerbated, ad-libbed, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And on what atomic scale is the suspension of disbelief on a project like post-apocalyptic Commando Shark?
Give me a little bit more.
That's all I got, man. There's no follow-up on that. Suspension of disbelief. Tell me about the premise for that film you were involved in. It's a commando shark.
Yes. Okay.
In a post-apocalyptic world. Are we talking dystopian or utopian here? Probably dystopian.
Well, I don't know. I mean, utopian. I've actually read Thomas More's Utopian, and basically all utopians are dystopians, because in order to achieve this perfect society, you have these rules, like I cut off your hand for stealing, I kill you for adultery, I enslave populations that I go to war with, you have passports to go from town to town. So to me, that sounds like a dystopian. So actually, I think everybody's using the word dystopian wrong. Mm-hmm. So, but in regard to post-apocalyptic Commando Shark, I see that...
Yeah, as it relates to post-apocalyptic Commando Shark.
Right. I see that this is a probable future. I mean, especially if they're making monkeys smarter in China, I think it is. Mm-hmm. So I foresee someday maybe there'll be shark humans walking around, and what are they going to do? It's going to be like Planet of the Apes?
So you're telling me the suspension of disbelief is low?
Right.
That's, well, okay.
Or were you talking about my character being a scientist?
No, in a broader sense, the film for the viewer.
Okay.
Like, how much disbelief do you check at the door there?
I go into it with the idea that this is actually real.
You were living it
I was living
on
it.
set.
Yes.
With all due respect to Airy, is the central message to Will O The Wisp the common understanding that all redheads have mystical, diabolical powers they gain from the dark realms?
I'm not a redhead.
Oh. What
No,
do you
I'm a
identify
brunette.
as there?
I'm a
You were
brunette.
Okay.
Yes, and I
You were
haven't
an
had red
actor
hair for some time. So
who identifies as a brunette.
no, I am a brunette.
Okay. With this lighting, I can't tell. So I will do away with the respect then. Is that the central theme to the film?
Just because I'm a brunette doesn't mean I don't deserve respect.
Do you have diabolical,
a
mystical
brunette.
powers?
If I did, I wouldn't tell you.
Why not?
To ruin the purpose.
I think she does.
She's holding out.
Right.
Is that
I
the
don't
main-
even know everything that I'm capable of. So how can I tell you what I'm capable of if I'm not quite sure of it?
untapped psychic potential? Is what you're saying?
Limitless.
Well, in
Why
part
not?
that is a part of the premise of the Wisp is that, I mean, these people in the movie aren't actually any different than anybody else in the sense of knowing who they are. They just go on living their lives, doing what.
Are they living their best lives?
Well, they are living their best lives. The main character, you know, she's decided to live her best life without giving birth to her baby.
There were a couple scenes there that felt like they were scratching the back of my brain. It was unsettling and entertaining at the same time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How complex was the sound editing on Wisp?
I'll tell you, the only really complex sound editing part with the Wisp is when you're editing or finalizing a scene and you render it with the sound already in it, and then you can't take it back out, or you can't raise it or lower it.
It's there.
Yeah, and that's probably the hardest part. So if I learn anything, it's to try to get obviously clean cut, and then try to do all of the additional sounds later.
What am I missing here? You're doing like a pantomime.
No, I just right. I was agreeing with him as in like you don't do that. Like
I got you.
Yeah.
you don't do that.
Well, over 4 years, you learn a lot. In the beginning of the movie, you know, there were people, you know, they could stand over top of me and say, "This is, you know, hey, you got to follow the rules and make the movie this way and that way."
You say, fuck that. I'm doing it on my terms.
Well, it takes me a while because I generally, you know, don't like to be combative or conflicted.
Your
with-
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's your baby.
Right, but you know, you involve yourself with other people because you do want.
It's wise to be
Input.
open to other creative opinions.
Right.
Instead
But-
of just believing that your own opinion is the best opinion.
But after a while, I started to realize, you know what?
What?
I think better in the moment. So, you know, in that first scene when Brenda Ricketts getting into the hot tub to take off her skin to let the inner child out, I was setting it up, and it was all going to be convoluted, and I was looking, you know, for the right parts and the right spaces, and I said to her, "Wait, just stop, just hurry, get into the tub, and let's just do the scene right now, one take." And because the way I see it right now, it's not going to get any better than this. I love it, and we did it. So, had I talked myself out of it and said there's some rule I have to follow, then it probably wouldn't come out the same way.
As in rule, don't get into the hot tub with her.
Yeah, and
Respect the actor's
yeah,
boundaries.
right, exactly.
You had a
That's a
lot.
good rule.
You had a lot of shots downtown too. Did you do shoot and run, or did you have a permit to do some of those scenes downtown?
No, I guess that goes towards rules. I mean, I'm not necessarily want to be a rule breaker, but when you have no budget and you think that society is free,
Would you say you're a bad boy?
yeah, definitely.
You're a cinema bad boy.
Definitely a bad boy with a smile on my face.
That's a good tagline. I like that. Airy, you look like the cat that ate the canary. What do you got?
Am I supposed to have something?
Yeah, I figured you had something that. No?
When does this show come out? When do people
Tonight.
actually- People.
It'll be out
Oh,
tonight.
okay.
You have the plug that you wanted to work in. There's a 2-year...
Two-year
go for
Trivia
it.
Mania at the Screening Room Cinema Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Sure that Mick here is familiar with the Screening Room. If you're not familiar with the Screening Room, you should be.
I haven't been there since the old location.
Yes, so we're over in the Boulevard Mall, so plenty of parking.
I think this is the third location now, right? I've thrown.
It's our current location.
Right.
So
Third
show up
location?
at the actual location where we're at now. Don't worry about where we used to be.
Yeah.
Show up where we are now because it's best time like the present, and this is on Friday, so it's our 2-year anniversary.
Are there prizes?
There's going to be prizes. There's going to be trivia questions, a whole bunch of fun.
Will there be...
Might be celebrity appearance. I have to reconfirm that.
What celebrity?
I can't say until I confirm
You
it.
can neither confirm nor deny. Will there
I
be
have to
Will O The
confirm
Wisp
the celebrity
action figures
appearance.
for auction?
Ask Mick that question.
Well, I think that maybe the second
He's
showing-
welcome to appear with whatever he may have.
appearance fee, maybe.
How did you come up with your costume for summer camp party?
I was with Jason.
And is that released yet? Did that get released? Is it
It's
still
in
limbo?
post-production right now.
Christ.
It is currently being worked on, though.
Cities have
It
been
is
built
being
in
worked
less
on.
time.
If you want something done right,
Okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the final product.
Me too.
And I went with Jason, John Beebe to Target or someplace, and I looked for clothes that reminded me of what I wore in the 70s. Of course, they fit much better back then.
Did they even have bell bottoms at Target?
Well, the one outfit I'm thinking of is the tight blue polyester shorts and the tight T-shirt with a collar that I got at a Goodwill store and a head bandana.
And speaking of Jason, do you think Jason John Beebe turned down a nude scene for the film due to artistic reasons, or was he angling for a bigger paycheck for hanging dong?
I think that he turned it down because I think if he's going to have a career acting in the future, he's got to really limit his exposure.
Literal exposure.
Literally, but
That's not a career killer.
no.
And there's socks. There's little socks you can use, right? No?
Well, actually, he wasn't.
there isn't much to expose. You don't really have much of a... Hey, then you don't have a problem. The problem solved.
There you go.
Well, actually, I mean, I did want to accentuate, the muscles and things. It wasn't going to be a nude scene.
Again, if you don't have much to...
What are you trying to say here, Eric?
I'm not saying anything. I mean, hey, you invited me here, so...
I said, I'm glad.
For some reason, I was trying to get another friend of mine on the show who had UK distribution of his short film.
Oh, yeah, that
My friend
guy.
J.P. Edwards and Malign, his twisted, psychotic short film, which is just mentally insane, and not to give away any spoilers, but...
Well, he'd have to be here in person. And I
You-
got to tell you,
you
Mick
wanted me
O'Donald
here
here.
instead.
Mick O'Donald is all sizzle. If you want to come on the show, you got to be sizzle and steak. And Mick has both in spades.
Thank you. So, to answer your question, yes, Jason was supposed to come out of an egg naked, and I was just going to show his butt hip, and that was it.
No hanging dog.
No, and there was another scene. I think he was going to show up at a hotel room with a teddy bear covering himself, but he declined both of those scenes.
Are you a little resentful that I did not have your friend on, Airy?
Oh, no, not at all. It's just he might have much more to talk about than I would.
Oh, you wanted to have him co-host this shindig? Is there a connection with Mick?
When you had me co-host the first time, I didn't know who Charlie Simmons was. I'm glad to know him now. It was wonderful meeting him. No offense to him, but that was our first time meeting here. So would have been just a similar situation, only he might have more to speak about of interesting proportions.
So you're
I can't speak much of his film on his
Will O
own.
The Wisp or your friend's film?
Either. Although I have seen Malign, but I wouldn't give away
You're
any
throwing down
spoilers
plugs left
as
and right.
anyone should be watching it on their own. It has UK distribution. It's on Amazon Prime.
We have 20 seconds left.
Oh, guys.
Mick,
Time flies when you're having fun.
it does. Thank you both. Mick,
Yes.
do you have some plugs you want to throw down? YouTube account?
Yeah, Buffalo made movies and related resources. I try to gather up things made around Buffalo and Western New York area and just have a link for them because